Hello everyone and welcome back to my candid world. Today we're going to be talking about some key planning for financial success in college. Basically just some things I've done and that maybe you can do as well to try and plan for a very successful financial future. So getting right into the video, I'm actually going to start in terms of investing, because if you don't know, investing is one of the main ways you can try and plan for a good financial future. If you want to be successful in the future, having compound interest, just having something that's building up with time will be really helpful for becoming financially successful. And me personally, I'm still a very beginner investor. I've only been investing for a few months really, but I did my research, and the way that I started is ETFs. So if you don't know what an ETF is, an ETF is an exchange traded fund, and it's basically like stocks, where instead of just buying one stock for Tesla or one stock for Meta or one stock for something else like that, you're basically putting a certain amount of money in a stock that has a broad range depending on which one you buy. Like for example, there's the S&P 500. Those are 500 different companies that whatever money you put in there is being spread across. So it's a lot less volatile. It's a lot more safer when you're investing. There's that golden rule of the more risky it is, the more lucrative it is. ETFs are like, you put money in and it's slow and steady. It's the turtle, not the hare. You're doing this because you're expecting it to build and build and build. This isn't a invest in one day, take it out that same day. This is invest one day, take it out after weeks, months, even years. That's what I'm aiming for at the very least. And what I will say overall is that with investing, I'm going to bring up the ETFs that I'm invested in right now. By the way, I want to start this off, or no, not start this off. Before we get any further, I am not a financial advisor. I am not licensed or anything like that to give financial advice. I'm just telling you all what I've done. And if you decide to take that upon yourself and do whatever actions based on what I've said, that is your prerogative and that is all on you. Do not try and blame me for your financial failure or financial success. Whatever happens. I can't control the markets. But one reason why investing was really my priority for building a financial future is because of wealth accumulation, of the fact that it helps beat inflation. It's financial goals. Instead of just having your money sit somewhere stagnant, losing value over time due to inflation, why not put it in something that can actually accumulate and grow upon, and then maybe you get dividends from that, and the dividends are then reinvested back into your portfolio. Investing is just a whole new world that you can get into, and it's really just something you can forget about. Like, I put my money away. I'm not checking my stocks on the daily. I know that it's in the ETF. I know that I don't have plans to take it out anytime soon, so why would I be checking it daily when maybe I don't even plan on taking it out for at least a year on the minimum? But we ended off on a high note today. Just taking a look at the stocks that I'm invested in right now. I'm invested in the Vanguard. I'm invested in a few S&P 500s because there's different companies or whatever that will host the S&P 500. And what I do like is that you can actually check daily what of these publicly traded companies are, what is being included in the 500. You can check, you can see where your money's going. So I'm invested in 4 different S&P 500 trusts. I'm also invested in the Invesco QQQ. I'm invested in the Russell 2000 and also in the Dow Jones Industrial ETF. So that's 4 different ETFs that I'm invested in right now, and that's spread across 7 different companies. So you can see that I'm really going for that diversification in terms of your portfolio, which you might be like, why does it matter so much if my portfolio is diverse? Why can't I just put everything into one asset, into one company? It's because it's a lot more stable, it's a lot more consistent. Sure, you can do something like putting it all into one company, but that means it can either do really well or really bad, and then you've lost a ton of money that you can't really get back until you try and counter invest, and that's a whole cycle and spiral down that you can get into. Besides those ETFs, I've started looking at single equities to invest in. I've not confirmed anything yet, but possibly doing something in Tesla, doing something in these sort of tech companies, and then maybe also dabbling in any new startups that I see just to see how they go. But I haven't yet invested in those. I'm just keeping my eye on them, seeing how volatile they are, seeing how they perform from day to day. Um, and the app that I personally use, I am not sponsored by the way, but if they want to sponsor me, hey, is currently I'm using Public because as a college student, when I first signed up for the app, they gave me $15 to invest in whatever I wanted to, and I liked that. So I went ahead and I've been using them ever since. Besides the ETFs, there's one other sort of investment that I have, and I do have a government bond purchased. Government bonds, or actually, I think I have a T-bill rather than a bond. What the difference is both T-bills and bonds are like debt that the government is incurring. So like they're taking money from you and they're saying, hey, we're going to take on this debt from you because, you know, we need money to stimulate the economy or just to have or whatnot. But I think the main difference is that the T-bill, I have a T-bill right now, not a government bond, has a much shorter term like maturation rate. I'll say like a T-bill can be anything from a few days to a year, whereas government bonds are usually much more long term and so much less risky and a lot safer of an investment. But I don't know about you guys, but already waiting, I have a 6-month T-bill right now. Already the fact that I have to wait 6 months that's enough for me. I just want to try this out and see how it performs and see if purchasing government bonds and treasury bills will be something that I'd like to do in the future. So that's one thing that I have right now. And I still have 129 days until maturity, and it's at a 5.5% interest rate. So when I get that back, I'll get back the money I put in plus some, which is what we've been talking about, wealth accumulation. How can we grow wealth at a steady rate? So the next thing that I'm going to be talking about is savings and how important it is to have a savings account. Now, I have a high yield savings account, which means that the interest rate is much higher than your average savings account that will have a really low interest rate, and thus you will not be beating inflation. You'll actually still be losing money by leaving your money in that savings account. Not my thing. So I have a high yield one, and hold on, I accidentally logged out. But yeah, I'm getting into that. What I started with is when I first opened up the savings account, I did deposit $1,000 in there. And then since then, what I like about it is every month, interest is added to whatever money you have in that savings account. So say you put in $50 at first, the next month that $50, even if you add no more money, will grow and grow and grow. But in my case, in order to help facilitate this growth, to make sure that I have some sort of back burner to go onto, say if an emergency were to happen, if I needed to get some money out and quickly, I don't want to have to go into my bank account that I'm using for daily expenses. I want to make sure I have something put aside for that. And so that's my savings account. And what I have it set up as is I try and deposit $100 every 4 months into the account so that it's still growing and I can check it throughout time. And month upon month, that monthly interest is growing because there's now more and more money in the account, meaning letting this cook for a few months, even for a few years, I'll have a substantial savings account that I can always rely upon if an emergency were to happen. And that in and of itself is such a stress relief, knowing that you don't have to try and scrabble to find it, knowing that you have something aside for these emergencies that you will not touch. Do not take out the money out of your savings account if you do not really need it for something unexpected, something that you need to pay right now and get it over with. You don't want to keep taking money out of this because then how is it going to grow? It won't. So that is something that I just opened up this past summer. And so I'm really proud of myself. I actually got to, in doing all of my research for these different stocks, accounts and whatnot, was trying to encourage my parents to get their own high yield savings account because they use like the basic savings account you get with your primary bank. And I was like, look, compare the interest rates. If the interest rate is below inflation, then you're losing money just by having it sit there in that savings account. At least try to get into a savings account that matches inflation or is higher than, meaning you're actually earning value upon your money. So continuing on with this sort of investments spiel that we've got going on, the next thing I have is I just, for the first time this past fall actually have opened up a Roth IRA account. If I can just find that. But yeah, I have opened up a Roth IRA account, and if you want to know really the specifics between a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA, there's literally a million YouTube videos out there to go into specifics, but actually I have mine in the traditional IRA, which I believe is the one that only takes out the taxes once you're ready to withdraw the money. And what the thing is with IRA accounts is this is like retirement money, y'all. You're not taking this money out anytime soon, especially if you are a college student. This is going to be built upon, let's say you're right now 18, you're building on this for at least the next 30 years. And what it is you can like max out an account. So depending on how much your income is, each year there's a set amount you can actually deposit in the IRAs. And what you want to aim for, personally from my opinion, is having both the traditional and Roth IRA and maxing out both, because that means you're really getting the max amount that you can, the max amount of return from each of these accounts, which is just build year after year after year. So I currently have a traditional IRA maxed out right now, and I'm hoping next year to be able to max out both traditional and a Roth. I don't yet have any money in a Roth because that limit for me was at the traditional IRA based on my income. But IRAs are just a whole nother thing you can look into and see why they're such a great investment and why they're such a great way of building wealth and accumulation. And this is really good for maybe students or self-employed people. If you work for like a corporate company that gives you a 401k or something like that, it's much more beneficial to try and max that out instead. So we're going to sort of move away from this investment part and go into more general money, finance related things. I want to start by saying, if I can remember this off the top of my head, you want to aim to save at least 15% of your income annually. So however much you're making a year, figure out what 15% of that is, and you want to try and save or invest that in some way and capacity. If you know you're not yet comfortable with the stock market, I would suggest putting that 15% away into a high yield savings account, maybe splitting it between a savings account and stocks or investment. That's all your prerogative. I'm not a financial advisor. Once again, I can't give you the best way to achieve financial success. I'm just giving you my journey and what I'm currently partaking in. And I know some of you may be at this point in the video like, oh, you know, where am I going to get the money to do all this? Like, I don't have the money, yada, yada, yada. Okay, well, like, make the money then. You're a college student. If you're a college student, then ideally your living expenses are much lower, at least in my case. Trust that scholarship is coming in clutch right now. I was poor enough to get that scholarship, and I'm now using that opportunity of having lower living expenses to try and build myself up. And if you don't have low living expenses, if maybe you just got that money like that, then this is obviously no problem to you. And one thing I will say is my assets and my net worth as a person has grown so exponentially because I searched for those money making opportunities. I didn't complain about not having money. I didn't complain about my family not being affluent. I went and searched and clawed my way to these opportunities. I sold old books, old clothes, old little wires and equipments I had. I started my own business, drop shipping. I have a current business right now that I started in college. I was doing graphic design work and I was doing websites for people. I was writing, I self-published a book. Any opportunity that there possibly was for me to make money, especially under 18 too. Most of these stuff I had like connected to my parents' information, and then they would send that money to me. Even being a brand ambassador and like showing people companies and getting a very, very small percentage of each purchase, I clawed and fought my way to every possible opportunity. If I'm getting an email saying, hey, I'm doing a study, give me 2 hours of your time and I'll give you $100, I'm doing that study because anything I can to do to get some money to put away, I'm going to do it one way or another. Any birthday, holiday money, that was getting saved and put away. Okay, and then when it came to high school, when I could get to the point where I could apply for internships, you best believe I was editing and doing these interviews and everything possible to put myself forth as an exemplary employee, as someone they would want in their internship. And especially because of all the opportunities I had pursued, of course, people got my resume. When they interviewed me, they were very excited to hire me, and thus the money that I would often get from these internships straight away into the bank, straight into these different opportunities that I'm telling you about. And now at 18, looking forward into these next few years, I have very high hopes that I will continue to build my assets and build my net worth because I'm being smart with my money. I'm being smart with how I'm trying to accumulate my wealth. So that's that. And just to sort of round off this whole conversation we're having, you gotta fake it till you make it. You don't have the money, act and have that sort of confidence. You don't want to be in front of your prospective employer looking like fake it till you make it. You don't want to be, for example, in front of a prospective employer looking poor and unfortunate, looking like you really desperately need this job. You want to exude a set of confidence. You want to give that sort of behavior and mannerisms that those who do not have to worry about money have. They're, because of that confidence, because of their I'm gonna get this job, but not like in an overbearing way mannerisms that they have, they're a lot more likely to get that job because maybe the company's like, okay, yeah, this is someone I can trust. I don't have to worry about if they'll get to the job, if this will happen, if there will be complications due to their financial background. Fake it till you make it, even as a college student, and you'll just find that money and money opportunities will attract their ways to you. And you cannot be lazy. Like, if you really want to build that money and get that money, you're gonna have to pick up them hours, Pookie. I have a job on campus right now, first semester of freshman year. Why? Because I made it my priority. I went and I applied and I emailed and I said, hey, do you have that job opportunity? Can I work? And as soon as they said yes, I was doing the documents, I was meeting HR, I was doing everything to expedite that process so I could start working as soon as possible and start getting that money, because it's not like I just didn't spend anything from the end of high school to the beginning of freshman year. I've been paying for stuff, trying to get set up in this, in college, in life. And so, those are expenses that was just money going out and no money going in. So now I gotta be there and I gotta pick up the slack and not overwork myself, but make some money so that I can afford the lifestyle that I want. What I want to leave you off with, because I know this may have felt like a whole barrage at you, like, get your life together, do this, do this, do this, do that. I don't mean it in that way. I'm just very passionate about getting people to grow themselves, and anything that I can give to aid that. This is a free YouTube video. Any advice that I give, if that can somehow positively impact you, my job is done. I want to leave you off with these words. Nothing will change if you don't do anything. If you're just still complaining about how you want to be rich and powerful, but not actually doing any of the moves to get to that point, you will not get there. You cannot magically move to that point until the first thing you can do is something. Do some sort of action. Make that first step towards accumulating wealth and becoming a happier and healthier person, because there's so much less stress when you don't have to fight to make ends meet. And with that, if you've made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. I hope this added some sort of value to your life. And if it did, let me know in the comment section. Let me know what was your favorite message, what you've gathered from this video, anything of that sort. I love to read the comments. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I hope to see you in the next one.